One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I worked at McDonald's. I did the French fries and I did the ice cream. I worked at McDonald's. I was a student when I was working at McDonald's. There was not a family relying on me to pay the rent, put food on the table, and keep the bills paid by the end of the month. But the reality of McDonald's is that a majority of the folks who are working there today are relying on that income to sustain a household and a family. And if we want to talk about these golden arches being a symbol of the best of America, well, the arches are falling short. And we have
Ever since Tiananmen Tim got busted for lying about being a head coach, inflating his military service, and telling Kamala he can't handle spice after winning a spicy taco competition, there's been growing doubts about the Harris-Walz campaign. Tonight, one of Kamala's key elements to her biography is come into question, and it's a big one.
I want to ask a question about a topic that really unites America. Fast food. Okay, so here's the deal. I heard a rumor that you worked at McDonald's. Is this true?
I did. Yes, I did.
I didn't know that about
when
you.
I was in school.
Me too. I worked registered, drive-through, and grill. I was known as a triple threat. Okay, just for the record.
I did fries.
Just the fries?
I did fries, and then I did the cashier.
Okay, I'm impressed. Fries are hard.
A producer at Primetime who used to work the kitchen says fries aren't hard. They're the easiest. And Kamala didn't even start talking about cooking fries until she decided to run for president. There was no mention of McDonald's in both of her memoirs. And so far, all reporters looking into it have found no evidence. Andrew Kerr is a reporter at the Washington Free Beacon who's been investigating this story. So what'd you find?
Right. Well, Kamala's story about her job at McDonald's has shifted dramatically over the past couple weeks. At first, her campaign came out and said that this was a job she worked to pay her way through college. But now they say that she worked there for one summer just to earn a little extra spending money. So, yeah, we looked into it. Did she actually work at McDonald's? Well, she didn't mention it throughout the first several decades of her political career, made no mention of it in both of her books, including her 2019 memoir, in which she devoted an entire chapter to the struggles of service industry workers. There's been several biographies published about her in the past couple of years, none of which mention her job at McDonald's. The author of one of those biographies told us that he was not aware of the claim. We obtained a job application that Kamala filled out for a law clerk position in 1987 that instructed her to list every job that she had for the past 10 years. McDonald's is not mentioned in that job application or in her resume at that time. We reached out to McDonald's corporate several times asking, hey, can you confirm her employment? No response. We reached out to McDonald's in the Alameda area. None would say if Kamala worked at their location. We reached out to the Harris campaign asking, hey, can you specify which location in Alameda County that she worked at? And they won't answer. So it's possible that she did work at McDonald's for a few weeks in the summer of 1983. But when you put all this together, it just raises some very serious questions about what has become a foundational narrative that Democrats are relying on to connect Kamala Harris to the working class.
So McDonald's keeps pretty good records of their employees?
Right. They have a full-time archivist on file. We pestered them for weeks.
Can't believe she lied.
Never got a response.
So they know everybody who's ever worked at a McDonald's, and you gave them a month or a couple weeks, and the maybe future president of the United States, something you'd want to brag about if you were McDonald's. They didn't get back to you with anything. That is, and you're right, Andrew, we're not saying she never worked at McDonald's. We're just saying it doesn't smell right, and there's no evidence anywhere. Anything else you'd like to add? You do a really good job with this investigative reporting.
Thank you. Yeah, I think a great comparison is the 2008 campaign. It was a big storyline, Obama's first job as an ice cream scooper at Baskin-Robbins. The difference with then and now is that there was no mystery at all surrounding Obama's first job. News outlets published the address of his Baskin-Robbins in Honolulu on their websites. Photographers posted photos of the location. Baskin-Robbins proudly touts on his website that Obama used to scoop ice cream for them. And the manager of that location joked to the LA Times in 2009 that she turned into somewhat of a media professional after dealing with so many reporters during the 2008 campaign. The same just can't be said about Harris. There's nothing but mystery surrounding her claim to work at McDonald's.
Very mysterious. Maybe it was Burger King and she forgot.
She forgot. That's what they want to go with? They want to go with that she forgot? I know many, many people who worked at Burger King. I know many people who worked at McDonald's. I've never seen any people may hide the fact that they worked at McDonald's or Burger King. They don't want people to know that. I've never met anyone who lies and says they were at McDonald's when they weren't. Not that there's anything to be ashamed of. Kids in high school work at McDonald's, they flip burgers, they do all kinds of things to make ends meet. I worked at a store called Caldor in Connecticut. Worked in the garden department and moved fertilizer around when I was 16. Never once thought that was going to be my, lot in life, that I wouldn't go any further. That's where I had to be. It's insane that these people are trying to make it that McDonald's or Burger King is supposed to be someplace where you're supposed to take care of your family. Let me just say this, there's nothing wrong with working at Burger King or McDonald's, but if you want to raise a family and live a life and you're, 19, 20, 21, and the best you can do is Burger King or McDonald's, you might want to assess where you are in life. You may want to take a look at some things, because I'm not pretty sure you're taking the account of the best opportunities. Well, Miss Kamala Harris, we're going to talk about it later, had her nightmare of an interview, if you can call it an interview, yesterday. But this story that came up about Burger King, or rather McDonald's, was very interesting. When Jesse Waters ran that on his show, I think a night or two ago, it was a rumor. It was just being talked about that perhaps, she may have embellished about working at Burger King. She embellished her resume. Well, this came out. Let me make sure. Boom. Breaking news. McDonald's corporate sources have come forth and said they have no record of Kamala Harris working at any of their locations ever. She was so much of a fraud that McDonald's felt they had to make a statement. They had to come out and say, "No, man, she's never worked here. Nobody named Kamala Harris has ever worked at any McDonald's anywhere in the country." Who lies about working at McDonald's? I Kamala Harris for some reason. And next one was, I'm going to come back to that. Good morning, X. Yesterday was a bad day for Kamala Harris. We found out that she lied about working at McDonald's, and her quote interview was so bad that CNN won't release the original transcript. She's not competent, not qualified, and she's not going to win. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that full completely. And then Paul Sperry, who is a very, very credible reporter, says developing Kamala campaign has stopped referencing her alleged job at McDonald's and won't respond to media questions seeking the location of the McDonald's store and the dates of her employment at McDonald's, which appears nowhere in her memoirs or early resumes. The story is developing. That was as of 2:17 p.m. today. So now the reporters are digging in, and McDonald's is like, "Don't call us anymore. He doesn't never work here." So they go back to the campaign and they're like, "Hey, Kamala, McDonald's says you're persona non grata. You never worked there. What the hell's going on? You lied about working at McDonald's?" Let me just put it this way: if somebody that we're looking at basically as a presidential candidate is willing to lie about working at McDonald's, something so minuscule. Right now, people are saying, "What's a big deal?" Okay. In and of itself, it's not a big deal. I could care less whether she worked at McDonald's. I'm pretty sure every single one of you could care less whether Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's if that was it. The problem is her credibility is shot on all levels. Everything that is going on in the Kamala Harris orbit is fraudulent. There is nothing real about anything that she's doing. I got a storm rolling in here, so I hope I don't get blipped off. But it's crazy to think that this woman would embellish about working at McDonald's and is hiding as best as she can behind the curtain so nobody can talk to her. All of this stuff would easily just go away. How? Just come out in front of a camera. Come out in front of a camera doing what I'm doing right now. Have somebody ask you a question. "Hey, Kamal, did you really work at McDonald's?" No, whatever. Say it. But now as the lies compile and keep coming together and more, she's stacking lie upon lie. It's really, really bad. I was for fracking before I was against fracking, but now I'm against fracking, but I still got my same personal values, whatever that means. I was for no tax for tips after I was no tax for tips, but now I'm for tax for tips because Trump said he's no tax for tips. Every single thing is a lie. We're watching a Broadway production. There is no credibility, not just with her. There's no credibility with, horse milkshake Tim. There's no credibility anywhere. None of it makes any sense. She sat down at an interview with Dana Bash, not Dana, Dana Bash. And to me, as I watched her, I thought she had a confidence monitor. What's a confidence monitor? A confidence monitor is I'm looking in the camera right now. But I can also look down and say, how do I look? Oh, I need to fix my collar. I need to do something. There's a monitor in front of me that shows me how I look on that camera. At the same time, a confidence monitor can be answers, can be text. As I read those tweets, I can see different tweets on the screen right here. So if you asked me a question and said, "Hey, what did Paul Sperry say about Kamala Harris?" Well, I could say right to the camera, well, Kamala Harris has, said she worked at McDonald's. However, McDonald's has said that she didn't, and her campaign has stopped referencing any materials or anything to do with that alleged job. I can actually turn my head and read. So when you're watching, or if you did watch her interview last night, and Dana Bash is sitting on this kind of an angle, which was a weird place for them to have it. She's got her chaperone Tim sitting over here on the right. Dana Bash is sitting over there, and there's a table right here, and you don't see what's over there. And you don't see what's down. They pulled back once, but that doesn't mean anything. They could have pulled back to a point where you couldn't see the confidence monitor. So Dana Bash says, what color is the sky? Well, the sky, the last time I checked, is red, but it could have been green last week, and it's been blue before as well. That's all it takes, is to look down and check your notes and then look back up. And in a span of about 3 or 4 minutes, she looked down a couple times, lost eye contact, came back up, and kept going. If you know what you're talking about, you should be able to answer a question specifically looking at the person asking you the question. If she was in a court of law and, she supposedly was a prosecutor, she would know that a jury seeing you answer a question and look up and look down means you're lying. You're not being credible. Hey, did you do this or that? No, I didn't do it. Very simple. But she couldn't even say that because Dana Bash was giving her what's called a leading question. She had a multiple question interview. So, Kamala, did you do this because A, you wanted to do this, or B, because you wanted to do that, or C, because you wanted to do this? And one of those was the real answer, so it was easy for Kamala to say, well, yeah, you're right, Dana. B is where I was trying to do. She didn't even have to think that much. It was a complete tragedy, a comedy of errors instead of a tragedy. It was insane that someone who thinks they can be president of the United States could not take a question without looking away, looking down, or getting a multiple option, multiple choice question to go with. It makes no sense. I don't understand how she felt that was okay. I'm looking down at the screen here, and they got a speaker coming up. It's not Donald Trump, so I'm going to take a few comments and we can talk about this. It doesn't make any sense to me. This woman's a fraud. Horse Milkshake Tim is a fraud. The entire Democrat Party at this point is a fraud. And I don't know how people can even continue to think that this is a real candidacy. Not just it's not a real candidacy, it's actually the Democrat Party perpetrating a huge fraud on the American people. They expect you people to drink this, swallow it down like it's a horse milkshake. I know that's disgusting, but some of you probably may not know what I'm talking about. But in any event, I'm not going to go there. I'm appalled that someone would want to run for the highest job in our country, one of the highest jobs in the world, and can't have a conversation. It's absolutely crazy. Where was this? Somebody said, okay, Barry, the Harris campaign, let me just pull this up. The Harris campaign is bombarding the news in Wisconsin with her ads that she worked at McDonald's and put herself through college. Those ads are going to get pulled. Oh, I can't. Whoa, can you imagine? She's got basically 11 days before she's got to stand on the stage with Donald Trump. She's going to have to go toe to toe with this guy, and they're going to have to give him a bib at this point because he's got to be salivating. The drool must be accumulating. It's crazy that she thinks she's going to stand across from him. All she's going to have, I'm telling you right now, she's going to have zingers ready. They're going to memorize different things. Well, at least I'm not going to jail. At least I wasn't convicted of 34 felonies. I was a prosecutor. I know how to put felons in jail. Okay, so you know how to put felons in jail. Do you know how to come up with an economic policy? I don't know if it was the first question that she got, but one of the questions she got was, and it's probably the easiest question for a presidential candidate to answer. Obviously, one of the easiest questions that she could probably ever expect, and she had to expect it. What was that question? On your first day in office, Miss Harris, what are you going to do on your first day in office if you get elected president? Very easy question. You should have that in your back pocket. You should know it right off the bat. And what was her answer? World peace. No, no, she didn't say world peace, but it might as well have been that vague. Her answer was, I'm going to help the middle class. What the hell does that mean? No, no. Data should have came back and said, no, no, I understand that you want to do something to help the middle class. What exactly are you going to do? I'm going to unburden them from being burdened from what they were burdened with or something. She had no answer for the most obvious question in politics. What are you going to do day one? I don't know. I got to wait until Obama or somebody tells me. What do you think I'm going to do? Because so somebody's like, I don't think she's going to show up. If they keep her as a candidate, what happened to your thing? Somebody just said she's not going to show up. Yeah, I don't think she's going to show up. She's been in office for 3 years, and Dana Bash asked her that as well. Dana Bash said, you know, you've been here for 3 years. When you say you're going to fix the economy, how are you going to do it if you haven't done it in the last 3 years? Did you see the answer to that question? Not making this up. She's like, we have worked and we've driven we've driven inflation down. No, actually, it's up from when you took office. It's down from before when you were messing it, and down since you've been flubbing the numbers. It's still up. So you took credit for lowering an astronomical inflationary number, but it's still higher than when Trump was in office. Dana Bash didn't push back on that. Just let that come out with no big deal. It was crazy. Yeah, she lied about the Inflation Reduction Act. She did do that as well. Uh, how you doing at the work table? Yes, you have made it. First question, what are you going to do on day one? And she couldn't answer the question. Trump's not up yet, so I'm going to their feed. Okay, let me just tell you again. I don't know what's going on with this feed. I look clear. My numbers are fine, but this feed keeps going in and out. So I think that one of the things that Rumble or whoever's pulling these feeds in aren't getting broadcast quality camera work, which is okay. I'm not going to blame them. They're doing a hard job. They're flying all around the country. They've got people in 2 locations today. Obviously, we got the 7:30 or 8 o'clock thing at the what do you call it? The Moms for Liberty event. So let's look at that. Yeah, she even brought up the 800,000 jobs. It was a train wreck. And Democrats were like, well, she didn't score a touchdown, but she did okay. What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? Um, I've conducted I guess this guy's a police officer, a woman's a police officer, because I've conducted and interrogated people. Yeah, and if you were to basically ask a question like that, they're looking for the handcuffs. Um, so let me. I can't wait for the debate. Yeah, RSBN. It just seems pretty weird now. Inflation, nobody has to be an inflation expert because they obviously see it on their grocery bill every time they go to the store. So it's 4:23 p.m. The last speaker just got off. I got to believe if Trump is there, he may be coming up soon because he's got to get on stage, say what he's got to say, get off stage, get on his jet, head over to Moms for Liberty at 7:30. Robert Mann says something here. Where'd that go? Man, this stuff goes so fast sometimes. Uh, I'm looking at the blue curtain to see if they walk him out. Oh, here's Robert Mann. Robert Mann says, doo, doo, doo. I'm telling you that the Democrats are going to try and steal this election. Don't know how, though. I don't know if they're going to be able to do the classic steal and do the things that they've done in the past. But and your comment is timely because we may be seeing a dress rehearsal of what they plan on doing with these newcomers. And so some of you may have seen the tweet that I was getting ready to talk about. And if you've been following this insane story in Aurora, Colorado, and it makes me wonder, I'm like, okay, so let me just tell you, Venezuelan gangs have been going to apartment complexes and taking them over. Armed people. Imagine you live in an apartment complex wherever you are, and armed nuts show up, throw out the managers at gunpoint, and basically surround the building and start going door to door and say, "You owe me money." They basically descended upon these two at this point, two apartment complexes, newcomers who don't even belong here. And we're talking about this at 4:25 on August 30th. And I don't understand why the National Guard has not been called up. Why are these thugs being allowed to harass people at an apartment complex on the United States soil? And the governor of Colorado has not called out the National Guard and said, "Go get these guys out of here and then deport these idiots." Is this the dry run? Is this what they're going to plan to roll out? For those of you who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, let me show you this stuff. All right. This is some scary, scary stuff going on. Breaking. The mayor of Aurora, Colorado just confirmed that Venezuelan newcomers, gangsters, have taken over several apartment complexes and have pushed out the property managers to extort rent from the tenants directly. Pay me or I'll shoot you. He also blames the Kamala Biden regime and said they may be involved in importing the newcomers into this city. Somebody put them here, he quotes, and somebody funded it, whether it's the federal government or not. Somebody brought these people here. Well, he's right. We know it's the federal government. There's no other way they would have gotten to Aurora, Colorado. I mean, it's a long way away from the border. The mayor further confirmed that Tren de Arrogas, that's best Spanish I can give, has given orders to its members to start attacking police officers. What? Fox says, we've heard reports that this gang has been greenlit its members to attack local police. Mayor Mike Kaufman says, we're aware of that in the Denver metropolitan area, that there are elements of Tren de Arrogas here. This is outrageous. Outrageous? That's the word? That's the word you want to use? It's outrageous? No, it's not outrageous. It's downright insane how we've let these people into the country, shipped them to corners of the country, who knows where. They've found a way to get armed, as gangsters would find a way to get armed. And now they're going out and terrorizing the community, taking over an apartment building, knocking on the doors. I'm the boss now. I'm the boss. Pay me. Pay me. And this has gone on, it's been confirmed, and it's on television. And you're telling me the National Guard hasn't been mobilized yet? There's not guys in black helicopters coming down ropes and just saying, not here. How can it be a couple days of this insanity going on with nobody really doing anything unless it was planned? I mean, think about in your hometown, an apartment complex, and all of a sudden some yahoos show up with AK-47s or whatever. They surround the place, kick out the property managers, and the entire complex is now owned, per se, by these gangsters. And I don't know where you live, but I would expect if that happened here in Florida, well, actually I'm in North Carolina right now, so can't really speak for North Carolina, but if it happened in Florida, I'm pretty sure Ron DeSantis would have the National Guard rolling pretty quick for two reasons. One, most obviously, to protect the people who live in the apartment complex. And the other reason is to protect the gangsters. Because I know if you rolled up in my neighborhood and you wanted to terrorize people who lived in my neighborhood, you're gonna be in the middle of a firefight. Ain't nobody sitting around going, oh man, the Tres den Arguellos are knocking outside the door and they want some money. The Tren des Arguellos better be prepared to know that they're going to meet the same fire they got. That's why the Second Amendment is so very important. There's nobody coming to help you. These guys took over an apartment building. Just let that sink in real quick here. You and your family are sitting home if you live in an apartment building, and all of a sudden you get a knock at the door at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and it's from this Pandeo knocking on the door saying, yeah, you pay me, I'm the captain now. Pay me some money. And he's sitting there holding a gun in your head. I don't pay taxes for that kind of governmental safety, if you want to call it that. I don't pay taxes to make sure that we're protected when we're not protected. And if you do that in our neighborhood, you're going to get in big trouble because people are going to reach for the Mossberg Persuader or even more, and then you're going to have a confrontation where it's going to get crazy. Could this be what they're going to do to suppress the vote? Terrify people to the point where they're afraid to leave their homes. That would suppress the vote. That would stop people from going to the polls. What if the Tres Don Vegas, whatever their name is, said you can't leave your house? Where are you going? Give me the key. Oh, you got a car? Give it to me. It's mine. It's mine. Bet you last week you thought that was impossible. Bet you last week you're like, there's no way newcomers with guns would take over an entire apartment complex. There's no way that would happen. That's impossible. And then you read and like, no, that's not one apartment complex. The mayor's saying, yeah, they've taken over a couple of them. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, get your ass out of this Fox interview and go get the National Guard. Why are you on television? Why are you on television talking about what these yahoos are doing at apartment complexes? And you've got constituents, people who live in your town going, hey, what are we supposed to do here? Well, I don't know what the Second Amendment rules are in Colorado. Maybe that's why they're there. Maybe they're practicing in a deep blue state going, hey man, these people don't have any guns. They can't stop us. There's nothing these people can do. Notice they didn't pick Texas. They didn't pick Georgia. Definitely didn't pick Florida. They picked Colorado to go over there and terrorize. And we've said it all along. Everybody who believes in the Second Amendment has said, if you don't have, if you're not protected, I don't want to say the words, if you don't have the protection, you're not going to be able to stop the bad guys who have the protection. Those bad guys are armed. And you've given away your rights. Oh, we don't need it. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. I can't believe people need guns. I can't believe it. Nobody needs a guy. Hey, listen, I don't care about what you think I need. The Constitution said I'm entitled to it. You don't get to ask that second question. Even Dementia Joe had said, I don't understand why anybody needs to have an AR. I don't need to explain it to you. I don't need to submit a form and say I need this because of this. Well, nobody needs that to go hunt a deer. Maybe I'm not hunting deer. Maybe I'm hunting Tres Van Fuegos, whatever the hell they are. Maybe that's who I'm starting to hunt. Maybe that's why I need so many cartridges. Maybe that's why the whole bump stock thing. Because I'm not looking to go shoot a deer or a bear. I'm looking to get rid of Tres Van Fuegos or whatever they're called. And now it's here. Now it's here in America, and these people felt so emboldened that they went out there and took over an apartment complex. And the mayor's on television. You feel safe in Aurora? If you're in Colorado right now, you feeling good? Because they've learned. They've said to themselves, you know what? This was pretty easy. We just rolled up in here, didn't get any resistance whatsoever. And we took over 2 apartment complexes. We're getting comfortable now. Now we know it. Now we'll even get better. Maybe we go into a gated community. The little guard that sits in the, little hut and just takes down your license plate. Get out. My community now. This is ours. Let's go door to door and start knocking on some of these $1 million houses and say, hey, pay me. You better lock and load, people. Ain't nobody coming to help you. And you're seeing it. And then, if that's not bad, I'm going to tell you something worse. I don't have the tweet for it, but they tried to commandeer 2 school buses full of kids. What would the Trace Von Vuegos or whatever other gang would want with a bus full of kids? Hopefully not the really bad stuff that you can use your mind for. Maybe it was just for ransom, but in any event, nobody's stopping them. These people now feel comfortable. They now feel emboldened. Somehow they got weapons. Somehow they've got transportation. They found their way around, and now they have a game plan on how to come after you and me. I just can't even imagine it. Can't even imagine that could be happening in America. And Kamala Harris or Dementia Joe haven't said a word about it. Haven't said a word. Hey, Cindy, yeah, it could be ransom, could be trafficking, could be either way. But I think your computer is getting too hot. Your stream color keeps changing right now. No, what you're seeing in the stream color, I've got a portable light on here, and the sun is going down because it looks like there's a rainstorm coming in, so it's getting darker outside, which obviously makes the color on the screen change as well. Yeah, Joe's on a beach somewhere, just hanging out, just hanging out. Those school buses were in California. Okay, great. What what's Gavin Newsom doing about that? Nobody's talking about it. Sean Z says, you're exactly right. If you can legally carry, I suggest you do so. Yeah, exactly. Uh, Kamala is just a clone puppet of Sleepy Joe for the Democrats. So, yeah, it's. I love this. What Sivvy says, from my cold dead hands, it would actually have to be that way, and it seems as though they are going to indeed try. I really feel that these are kind of dry runs these people are going to do, because there's no reason to stop it if you're not meeting serious resistance. They may roll up with the stadies, maybe a couple sheriffs come up in there, and if they're outgunned, they're just going to stand outside and look. Remember what happened I don't know if you remember, but in Parkland down here in Florida, when a kid went into the school, and the sheriff's officer looked and saw he was outgunned, and like, okay, I'm going to call for help, but meantime, this guy's walking through the school popping people off. There's nobody going to come and help you. There's not enough time. Somebody rolls up into your neighborhood and they've got weapons and they're looking to do something. Your response time, even in your local police, even if they decide to engage, which hopefully they would, too late. Realize that. Somebody rolls into your neighborhood and they jump out and they start running and wreaking havoc and knocking in doors and pointing guns at people's faces. Number one, you're hoping that your phone is nearby and you pick up and can hit it in time, or someone in the house can do it, or maybe a neighbor sees it, and then they got to roll police from wherever they are. Just think what somebody can do in that short period of time. Even if the response time is 2 minutes, 1 minute, pop, pop, and nobody's coming to protect you. You're on your own. I think that's what you have to learn from this, is that, some people may say, I'm not into the Second Amendment. You may not be into the Second Amendment until you have to, until your family, your wife, your children are staring down a barrel of some yahoo's gun. Then what are you going to do? Pick up and call 911 and hope somebody picks up on the other end and rolls out in 3 or 4 minutes, and so when they get to your house, your family's done? I hate to be the one to break it to you. Uh, Thank you, Justin Knucklehead. I need to watch the lock and load language. You two are sympathizers and will turn you off. Just saying. Yeah, I I sneak that in. I just want to let you know, because it's important. This is a news story, and it's what's really funny about this is, did you hear about it? Because I don't know what news channel you tune in, but if you haven't heard this story, It may be just shocking to you right now that a couple apartment complexes in the United States were taken over by Venezuelan gangs. The sentence that I just said is incredulous. A couple apartment complexes in the United States were taken over by Venezuelan gangs who weren't even supposed to be here. Everybody I know who's been talking about Trump has been telling you, "Hey, this is bad. These people are," and Trump has said it in speech after speech. They're sending these people are coming in and they're murderers and they're this and they're that. And he hasn't. Hey, they don't care. They're the ones who are going to just bring in whoever. And so when the gentleman asked, are they going to cheat? I think we've reached a whole different level of cheat. I think at this point that the traditional means of cheat is completely different. Guy says here, it's fine to be a fan of the second 2A. You know what? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of lib nuts out there who are secret fans of 2A. Because if you've got a family, if you've got a property, if you've got any kind of assets, you would be an absolute fool to basically not have any way to protect yourself in this day and age with millions of newcomers that we have no idea who these people are. So Trump, hope he touches on it today. He's in Pennsylvania, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. We need to take Pennsylvania. I hope it's something that he brings up. Yeah, Trump's been ringing the bell over and over and over. And all the people on CNN and MSNBC keep telling him, he's scare tactics, he's fear mongering, he's this, he's that. I've been accused of being a fear monger. I bet you the people in Aurora, Colorado right now are like, oh shit. Yeah, I'm afraid. The fear is here. Got to get with it, man. Colorado is blue. Exactly. They, I think I tweeted and said, hey, you voted for this. No refunds. No refunds. This is what you wanted. You brought in all these blue Democrats who are so anti everything. And now look at you. Now you're sitting back going, oh, what do we do? Oh, yeah, maybe vote red. Maybe vote in somebody with some cojones in here and say we're not going to take this anymore. Maybe vote for some friggin' mean tweets. Maybe vote for the guy who said he's going to round these people up and send them back. Because what's the alternative? And that's at this point, the people in Aurora have lived the alternative. They decided to vote blue, 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 and we're such liberals out here in Colorado. And now you got guys rolling into your neighborhoods with guns and taking over apartment complexes. No refunds. You own it. Sorry to say, good luck to you, but that's all you got. All you got is luck. If you've got no way to do anything about someone coming and taking what you own, all you have is luck. And by the way, that includes the government. So Trump is walking out right now. He's actually not too late, so we'll get to that as soon as he walks out here. He's ushering out to the stage. The music is playing. So, what was my point in all this? My point in all of this is letting you know what you need to do to take care of your family, your property, things that you love. Although some of them may be materialistic, you could probably have insurance take care of this or that, but you can't take your children and put your children in harm's way, or your wife or your mom. This man is looking to protect America. The other ones are looking at Aurora, Colorado and ignoring it. I don't know how this isn't a front page story on CNN. I don't know how it's not a front page story on MSNBC, but it isn't, which means they're okay with it. Don't be okay with this. Do something. All right, so Trump's walking up to the microphone, uh, doing his usual, letting the music play, And as soon as that music is done, I'm just going to click the button and we'll hear Mr. Trump speaks. Now understand, my stream is going okay, no buffering, everything seems to be okay. If you start seeing little pixelation, it's not me, it's the feed. But I'm looking at the sound levels. As soon as I turn over, it should be fine. And then we'll let him talk, and then we'll come in maybe once in a while and put some comments up. But just before he gets on, please, please, please don't be like people in Aurora, Colorado. Don't be them. Be ready, be prepared, and don't let your guard down. So I don't know what they're going to do, but to me it seems as though they're ready to indeed. Uh, somebody goes, a fight is about to happen. I'm telling you what, if somebody came into my neighborhood and I had to protect my wife, yeah, it would be a firefight. All right, here we go. And he's got the microphone in his hands and...
Wow, thank you very much, everybody. I love this place. I love it. We've had great luck here. So just to everybody, hello, Pennsylvania. How are we doing, Pennsylvania? And I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. It's coming, it's coming. Listen to this, 67 days, wow. 67 days from now, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. Did you see her? Did you see her last night? Did you see her last night? I don't know. You think she's going to be able?
Hey, everybody, let me know if the sound is okay.
I think so. China, North Korea, Russia, I don't know. But we're going to win back the White House. We're going to make this country greater than it's ever been. And everyone here today is part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. You know that. Make America Great Again, MAGA. And whoa, look at all of the fake news. They got a lot of fake news back there. That's a lot of fake news, David. That's a lot of people. Some I like, about 7%, and some I don't like. No, that's a lot. But, you know, when I say the greatest political movement in the history of our country, if I say something even slightly wrong, they give me 12 Pinocchios, right? 12 Pinocchios. No, we can't say anything even a little bit wrong. I can't even joke. When I used to show Biden couldn't find the stairs off the stairway, they'd say, Trump couldn't find it. They'd say, they took it. And they would say, I couldn't. When different things, the worst thing you can do with them is sarcasm, because it doesn't work with the fake news. So we won't have any fun, but we will have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I recognize you. How are you? And I recognize you. But no, it's amazing what we built all together and started 8 years ago, maybe a little before that, who knows? Probably started 40 years ago in our soul, but it started 8 years ago, and nobody would have thought anything like this could have happened. And it represents a tremendous piece of the Republican Party, and more importantly, it represents a tremendous piece of this country, tremendous piece, a lot more than 50%. Therefore, we have to get out and vote. This past week, I was honored to receive 2 endorsements of former Democrats for president, Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. And they're both great people. They were Democrats, as you probably know, and they felt very strongly about the endorsement, and I feel very happy to get it. Every day we are welcoming more Republicans, independents, traditional Democrats, and old-fashioned liberals. You know, they don't use that term anymore. They use progressive. We don't use that term. We like liberal better. Progressive sounds so good. It sounds progressive. They're not progressive. They're the opposite. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. And coming in, I heard some of the most beautiful speeches. I heard just beautiful, beautiful speeches. I want to thank all of the speakers that preceded me. Beautiful speeches. We're joining forces to defeat government corruption, restore free speech, and make America healthy again. We're going to make America healthy again, you know? We're a nation that is not doing well in a lot of ways, and we're not doing so well with health, but we're going to solve a lot of those problems, I think, over the next short period of time. A lot of it's common. A lot of that's common sense, too. It's all common sense when you get right down to it. But we're going to get toxic chemicals out of our environment, and we're going to get them out of our food supply. We're going to get them out of our bodies. We'll get them out of our body, right? Right? With victory this fall, we will enact this pro-family agenda, and we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. They never talk about the American dream. They never mention it. They don't talk about the American flag. By the way, the American flag, we got some of the greatest congressmen warriors here that you have anywhere. And congressmen, go to Congress soon, like immediately, but soon. We should give a 1-year sentence in jail to anybody that burns the American flag. You should do that. Mike, do it, Mike. Right? Do it. That looks so bad at the Democrat National. I always call it Democrat. You know, they want it to be called Democratic. I said, then change your name. They don't change their name. Sounds worse, so I use it. But at the Democrat National Convention, I watched those American flags burning all over the place. I think it's a disgrace. And they said it's unconstitutional to stop it. Like hell it is, okay? Like hell it is. It's not unconstitutional. It's like when I stopped the riots in Washington. They were taking down statues. They were having a lot of fun. They didn't know what they were doing, having a lot of fun. And I pulled out an old law from 1907, because we don't pass laws like that are tough. And it said, if you touch a monument, if you touch it, even touch it against the will of authority, if you take it down, but if you even touch it, you go to jail for 10 years. And there's no 9 years and 5 months, it's 10 years. And so I signed it. I took it out. It was dusty. It was old and dusty. Hadn't been used in 78 years, I think they said. And I signed it. I announced it. And I watched about 10,000 asses I could watch from the back as they left town. They were all gone. I knew there was a problem when they started ripping down a statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, they're going to take down the statue of Lincoln? I don't think so. We're not going to let that happen. And we've got to be tough, because if you see what's happening in Aurora, Colorado today, did you see that? Where Venezuelan gang members have taken over parts of the city. They've taken over apartment houses because these stupid people that we have leading our country are allowing these people, these criminals, to come into our country, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing. Unbelievable. No, it's these congressmen, they're just shaking their head. They can't believe it. They can't believe two things, actually. The size of these crowds. You know, you could fill this place up 3 times. Why didn't you get a larger arena? Huh? Somebody said, as we were riding by, oh, it's too bad the arena hasn't started filling up. I said, no, you don't understand. It's totally full, but the line goes back for miles. It's already full. But we got to do that, fellas, you know? We got to do it. Because I've been saying for a long time I said, these people are coming in from prisons and jails. Nobody listened to me. They're murderers. They're drug dealers. If you take a look at Venezuela as an example, their crime is down 72%. Because they've taken their criminals from Caracas. They've taken their drug dealers. They're emptying their prisons into our country. Their crime is down all over the world. Crime is down. In the Congo, in Africa, 22 people deposited into our country. Where do you come from? The Congo. Where in the Congo? Jail. What did you do? We will not say that. You can imagine. Listen, they come from Africa. They come from the Middle East, countries that are not friends of ours. And they're coming by the millions, And these fools, Kamala, who's a Marxist, these fools are letting them come into our country, destroy our country. And I said, you know, did you ever see the hat? I don't want to brag, but they do have a big selling hat. You know what it says? Trump was right about everything, right? Front row Joes. Front row Joes. Right? No, but it's... Hey, look, if I ran one of those countries, I would be doing better than them at getting the people out. You run a country, the country's inundated with really tough people that are criminals. I want to get them the hell out. If I was the head of a country, the president of a country, if I was in charge of anything having to do with the country, I would have moved them out even faster than they're doing. They are moving people into our country at numbers that nobody's ever seen. And those countries are becoming safe countries. And wait till you see what's going to happen. You know, they're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? They're getting used to a society that really goes too far. And the only thing they go after is guys like Trump because he protests an election. That's the only thing they're good at going after. They don't go after criminals. They don't go after people that kill people. They don't go after drug dealers that kill, on average, 500 people during their lifetime. So a drug dealer kills 500 people, and the only thing they would understand would be the death penalty. If you had the death penalty for drug dealers, you wouldn't have any more drugs. You wouldn't have any more drugs. Instead, we formed blue ribbon committees made up of our great First Lady and lots of people, like Steve Witkoff, great developer in New York. But they don't do this for a living. The only thing they understand, I went to China, I saw President Xi, had a good relationship until COVID came in, then I broke it off. That was too much. But I said to him, and I had a great relationship with him, and I will again probably. But I said, do you have a drug problem? 1.4 billion people. No, we have no drug problem. Why don't you have a drug problem? Because we have the death penalty, he said, for drug dealers. If they sell drugs, they die, he said. So those people that sold drugs, they said, you know, let's go to another country. This is a little bit tough. But they do in many other countries. In countries where you have that, you don't have a drug problem. And we are becoming a drug-infested nation, whether you like it or not. We're becoming a drug-infested nation. So we better get our act together. You know, years ago, centuries ago, China was taken over numerous times by smaller nations, much smaller nations, because they were all drugged out from the opium fields and all of that. And then one of their very powerful leaders said no more, and they ended it. And we're going to have to end it too, because we're really a country that we're a failing nation in a lot of ways. What they've done to our country is incredible. What is Kamala, who's a total lightweight. Did you see her on television last night? This is going to be the president. This is going to be the president of our country? I don't think so. Sitting propped up in a desk with this guy, this Tampon Tim. And it's the first interview she's done in, like, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And if you're too weak to do a one-on-one interview with a person that was so soft, you know, I know Dana, she's always, you know, always nasty. She was so nice to the Democrats. It's much easier to be a Democrat But we don't agree with their policies because their policies will destroy our nation. So we can't do that. We can't do that. But it was a very weak interview from the standpoint of CNN. I think CNN should be ashamed of themselves. Yep. If that were me, aren't they? Sir, I heard you want the death penalty for drug dealers. Why? Well, you know, I'd like to end the drug epidemic, if that's okay. Remember this, and I said it. Every drug dealer, on average, kills 500 people. That's not mentioning all of the families that are destroyed forever. They're destroyed forever. And we have to do something about it because we are becoming, and we are, a drug-infested nation. We have to do something. And if you did that meaningfully, you will, in 1 week, stop the drug problem. Nobody's going to be selling drugs. Nobody. I don't know if the country's ready for it, but they should. You know, we lost, they give you fake numbers, the real numbers. We lost probably 350,000 people last year to drugs, to fentanyl and other drugs. I had to deal with President Xi, who was going to put that on their ultimate crime list. That's where they give the death penalty. If they make it in China, they sell it here. He was going to give the death penalty. When we had a rigged election, what happened is when I left, they never picked it up. Biden never picked it up, so they never did it. But they were going to give the death penalty, which is their ultimate punishment. You can't get too much more ultimate than that. They were going to give the death penalty to the fentanyl makers in China if they make it and sell it in here. And they were going to do it because, you know, otherwise we weren't going to do trade. Little things like, we won't trade with you anymore. We won't pay you billions of dollars anymore. So easy. So easy. But people like Kamala, she let San Francisco die. She destroyed probably the greatest city, maybe one of the greatest cities, but could be. A friend of mine, Bob Tisch, used to say years ago, he said San Francisco is the greatest city in America. That was probably 1670. He passed away, great guy. He passed away, but he used to talk about San Francisco all the time. Today, you can't walk into San Francisco. She destroyed it. She destroyed. She's the one that started it, too. She was the district attorney. Then she destroyed California along with Gavin Newsom. You know, one of the truly bad governors. But the fake news is doing everything possible, everything they can to help Kamala Harris. Do you ever notice nobody knows what her last name is? I go, okay, I'm going to give you the first name. Tell me the last name. I say, Kamala. They have no idea who the hell she is. But as they find out, you notice our poll numbers are starting to skyrocket. When they find out that she's a Marxist, when they find out her father, you know, is a Marxist professor, you know that. When they find out that she was the one that destroyed California and San Francisco a long time ago, you can't have this. Look, we have to put our country back into shape. Somebody said, women don't like Donald Trump. I said, I think that's wrong. I think they love me. I love them. I love them. Speaking of them, North Carolina, these women, this is number 227 rally. And they've been to some other than rallies. 220. They're wealthy as hell. Look at them. They've got nothing but cash. Their husbands are great. But they allow them to go all over the country. They follow me all over the country. We have front row Joes over here. We got the women from North Carolina. Look at them. And no, but they're great patriots. They're great patriots. And, you know, I spoke to the husbands one time. I say, how do you put up with this? Your wives are traveling all over the place. Do you mind? We trust our wives, sir. We trust them implicitly. I said, well, you have great wives, let me tell you, but they've traveled, I think it's like 228, something like that. But it is beautiful to have you here. We love to have you here. Always perfectly coiffed. They're always perfectly coiffed, right? They're beautiful. They're great women, and we appreciate their being here. We appreciate you guys being here. You were here in Butler. They were there in Butler. I remember they were standing there in the front row Joes. You know what? They get here like 3 days early. They wait around for 3 days, 4 days. They probably got to know some of my guys by now. I would think they don't have to be quite so anxious. They're going to be, but they've done a great job. And then we have Mr. Wall, Irving Wall. Would you please stand up, Irving Wall? He is a great guy, and he was there for Butler, too, wasn't he? He was there. I saw him there, but he's been to many shows. How many shows have you been to? He's lost track. I agree. I agree, but I appreciate it. We appreciate it. The whole place appreciates it. Ultimately, they're patriots. It's not about me. These are incredible patriots. These ladies are incredible patriots. So I just want to thank you. Incredible. But to show you how bad the fake news is, some of the Gold Star families, you probably read this over the last couple of days, and you know, a lot of people say, sir, don't hit down on them, the fake news. Don't hit down, sir, don't even mention. I said, should I mention it? Don't hit down. Well, but it became sort of a story. So I always like to mention it, because if you don't mention it, our supporters don't really know what to believe, and they sort of believe this stuff. So the Gold Star families and incredible people, and I got to know them because the 13 families who were, as you know, lost a loved one in Afghanistan so needlessly because we have an incompetent president and vice president, grossly incompetent, and we had Milley and these incompetent generals that should have been fired immediately. Not one person was fired over Afghanistan. And by the way, Russia saw that. They went into Ukraine because they said, I had no idea that the United States was so stupid. So, and you know, when I was running that, I spoke to the leader of the Taliban. They run the whole deal. And I said, Abdul, don't even think. Don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. Because they were killing our people. And they were really killing them previous to me and Obama. They were killing them in the Obama administration and with Biden. But how did he do in the debate? A friend of mine said, sir, what did you do? I said, how good was I tonight? Sir, you probably got him thrown out. Now you're going to have to run against somebody new. I said, I don't care. I have to do what I have to do. We have to do what we have to do, right? And I look forward to the debate with her. But what happened, so with Afghanistan, you know, I do the weave. You know what the weave is? I'll talk about like 9 different things, and they all come back brilliantly together. And it's like, and friends of mine that are like English professors, they say, it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. But the fake news, you know what they say? He rambled. That's not rambling. When you have, what you do is you get off a subject to mention another little tidbit, then you get back onto the subject, and you go through this, and you do it for 2 hours, and you don't even mispronounce one word. And they say he had 100,000 people. You know, in New Jersey, we had 107,000 people. They never like to report it, so I say it. But in Wildwood, New Jersey, they announced 107,000 people. And then they say, well, look at this. I mean, if you gave me a big arena, we would have said 4,000 people. But it is rather brilliant. But they say, yes, you rambled, but in Afghanistan. So what happens is you take the wonderful families, and they come in, and we're in Washington. They said, would it be possible, sir, would it be at all possible for you to come because we're celebrating our child's life? The child was buried because of Joe Biden and Comrade Harris. Would it be at all possible, sir, for you to be there? And I said, it's going to be real tough. I was really like far away, and sometimes it's tough. But I said, you know what? We have to do it. And I got my team, and I said, let's go. We're going to Arlington Cemetery. Okay? I said, we're going to Arlington. Because, again, I got to know these people. Because, honestly, they would send me death certificates of their child. They said, sir, would you sign it? Please sign it. We refuse to accept his name on this death certificate. They said he killed our child, and honestly, the incompetence killed their children. The incompetence, gross. And by the way, they lost almost 500 people that day, including the other side. They left Americans behind. They're still there. Nobody knows even what happened to them. Think of this. They left $85 billion worth of brand new military equipment that I bought because I rebuilt the entire military. $85 billion worth of equipment behind. They left everything and they moved the military first. Instead of last, you say, you stupid people, you take the military out last. For 18 months, and a lot of you know this, for 18 months, not one American, after I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban, not one person was shot. We didn't lose one person for 18 months. In fact, Joe Biden got up on television one day and he said, for 18 months, not one person was shot during the Trump administration. Then the people started screaming at him, you stupid, don't say that. You know, you are so stupid, they tell him. But I appreciated that he said that. But it's true. For 18 months, nobody was lost, and nobody would have been lost, and we were getting out. I had it down to 5,000 people. But we were going to keep Bagram, which is the big air base, one of the biggest in the world, had the biggest runways, most powerful runways, 8 foot deep. You could land anything on those runways. Not because of Afghanistan. We're keeping Bagram for a different reason. 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, right? So I got a call from the people. Sir, we're going to be going to Arlington to honor our children who were killed. And they are devastated, the people. I had them over at Bedminster, and they didn't think I'd see them. And they said, do you think we'll see him? And they said, well, we don't know. He'll try and make it. I ended up spending 4 hours late at night listening to music with all of the relatives of the people that were killed, so needlessly killed. And I got to know them. And we were looking at the sky, beautiful place. We're looking at the sky, and we're listening to Elvis, and we're listening to Elton John. We're listening to everybody. And I said, look, your son is looking down at you. And the whole thing was beautiful. And you get to know them. They didn't think I'd see them, but at most I would spend 15 minutes. And I ended up spending many hours. So I got to know them. So they called up and they said, do you think you could be there, sir? I said, I'll try if I can. And we really had to turn things around. Anyway, I got there. And we had a ceremony. We had the changing of the guard. No, we had a beautiful ceremony. And then they said, sir, could you come to the graves? Could you come to the graves? After the ceremony, they said, could you come to the graves? Would that be possible? I said, I will. But I got like this big stadium, something was waiting. I said, but I'm going to, because those people are the love of our lives. They are the love of our lives, right? And in all fairness, I can say there's the mother's, father's, sisters, the brother, but the various people that we're talking about, depending on who it is, but the various people, they say it to me, I'll say it to you. I mean, I don't think they can ever be the same. I said, is it better now? Because it's 3 years. Is it better? No, it's not better. You know, they have an expression, time heals all wounds. But I said, is that expression true? No, sir. Maybe it's worse now, sir. It's devastating. These people are just so devastated. So anyway, we're there, and they said a prayer, different graves, one here, one there. Then they said to me, I'm not surprised. I never even thought about it. Sir, would it be possible for you to have a picture with us by the tombstone of my son? You know, the beautiful white tombstones, marble, beautiful, beautiful things, and carved, engraved with the names on them. I said, absolutely. I wasn't doing it I don't need publicity. I get a lot of publicity. I would like to get a lot less publicity. I would pay to get, I'm the only guy who would hire a public relations agent to get less publicity. Most hire to get publicity. So I was taking pictures at the grave, one with the sister, and then the mother, and then the father come in, and then another group at a different grave. And it was so beautiful, and we left, and everything was nice. And then later on that day, I heard that we were using the graves of those soldiers for public relations purposes, you know? And that was all put out by the White House. Joe Biden killed those young people because he was incompetent. And then they tell me that I used their graves for public relations services, and I didn't. And I'll tell you what, it was a disgrace. And she was involved. Remember, she said she was the last person in the room, right, when they made the decision. And pulling out was okay, but not pulling out like a bunch of incompetent fools. And that's what they did. We had them in such a great position. But when I took those pictures, it was so beautiful. They were crying. Everybody was crying. They were talking about 3 years ago, because of a grossly incompetent group of generals, and we have great generals. Don't forget, we defeated ISIS entirely with great generals, real generals, not these television morons that you see all the time. But when I saw that, I said, I think I have to talk about it. Now, my people said, don't do it, sir. Don't do it. But if I don't tell you the story, you're going to read. It was front page of the Washington Post, which has lost approximately 57% of their readers over the last 3 years. It was a story in the New York Times, which is losing reader after reader. I'm happy about that. I have to be happy because they truly are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people. They tell false stories about me. That's all they do is they write false stories. They're incapable. I could do the greatest thing. I got to tell you, I ran for office, and they were covering it viciously. But it was front page every day. And then I won. I beat everybody. And I had a story on page 17. So I won, David. And my story was on page 17. But I was always at page 1 when I made a little speech or something. It's that's why they call it the fake news media. It's desperately trying to hide Kamala's failures and extremism from the public. They don't want the people to know how unfit she is to serve. She's unfit to serve. Everything she touches, she ruins. Just to finish this, I love those people. I'm so happy they took pictures of me and them and the tombstone and their lovely son or daughter. There was a daughter, too, and an incredible daughter, frankly. I've almost gotten to know them, even though I never met them, but I know everything about them. The mother would walk up and say, "Sir, may I tell you about my boy? You know, he was a football player, and he could throw the ball so far. He played quarterback, sir. And one day," and I realized that she's telling me a story and crying about her son who's now in a grave because of Biden and Kamala. And I listened to that whole story, how the ball was caught, how the ball was thrown, how the team did, the season the team had. And I let her talk. And then these people accused me of doing this for public relations reasons. And the fact that we even got there. The fact that we even got there, so I just want to, and they were so good. They said, how dare they do that? We asked him. They did ask me. And, you know, they actually came to my defense. It's nice, because sometimes that doesn't happen, too. But they really did. They said, we asked him to be here, and we want him to be there always. And I just think that's great. And we love you all. Thank you. But I wrote for this particular group, you know, because this is, you know, she's anti-fracking, she's anti-everything, this Pennsylvania. And I said, do me a favor, make a little reel of Kamala Harris has no right being here. She got no votes. She ran. She was one of 22 people that ran. She was the first one to quit. She never made it to Iowa in the primaries, the first state. She was nasty to Biden. She called him a racist and everything else. You know, she'll probably call me a racist in a week from now, week and a half. I look forward to that debate very much. But she called him a racist. Remember the school bus? All she can do, she can memorize a little bit, not a lot. But she memorized a little story about a girl taking a bus. And she used it on Biden. And so when Biden picked her, I was shocked because nobody treated him so badly as her. But let's take a look at the real Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
The food pyramid. What people
Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
But that's her. And now she's changed everything. In fact, I think she is going to soon apply for, give me an application for joining MAGA. She's going to be wearing a MAGA cap. Now, that's her, and she can't do anything about it because that's where she is. Or with a politician, when they come out with something, that's where they end up, and she will destroy the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Just remember that. And we should win a blowout. We should blow them out. We win the state, we win the whole thing. And we won it in 2016, and we did much better in 2020. You know that, much better. With the whole election. Actually, in 2016, we did great, but 2020, we did much better, generally. Since Kamala and the media don't want to talk about her radical record, we will. Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's all right. That's okay. No, he's on our side. We get a little itchy, David, don't we? No, he's on our side. You know what he's showing? At Butler, an amazing thing happened. You had two American flags very far apart, held up, I think, by different cranes. They were very big flags, beautiful flags, and they were waving. And as that horrible event was taking place, the wind blew the flags together, and they formed a perfect angel. I don't know if we have it, but it was a perfect angel was formed. I'll tell you, a lot of things happened. If we have it, put it up. If we don't have it, that's all right. That's it. That's it. That's it. He had the angel. He held up the angel, and our people went after him. No, he's on our side. He's on our side. Thank you very much. It's very nice. I've never seen banners so beautiful, right? No, he's on our side. I mean, the problem is if he was on our side, we can have 35, 40,000 people trying to get in. And if one person stands up and says, I don't like you, Trump, it becomes a headline. Major problems, right? No, but he is on our side. Thank you very much. That's nice. For nearly 4 years, Comrade Kamala Harris has overseen a nation-wrecking border division, flooding our communities with 20 or 21 million, and it could be much more than that. And don't listen to 15 and 16. You're way gone. Those days are gone. 20 million illegal aliens from 158 different countries as of now. Is there anywhere that's more fun to be than a Trump rally? Right? There's nowhere. There's nowhere. It's nice Friday. You know what? And we have plenty of time. Friday afternoon. Steve is here. David's here. All my friends are here. We have the best son in the world here. But all my friends are here, and let's just take our time and have a good time, right? Or should I hurry it up? Should we give you the short version or the longer version? Harris lost. Listen to these numbers, though. Seriously, if this were a Republican, they'd be stringing them up. Now, listen to this number, because you have to understand what it means. 325,000 children have been lost. They've been allowed to be trafficked all across our borders. She flew in illegal aliens by the hundreds of thousands, and many of these were young children. But we have no idea where, think of the number, 325,000 children are missing. Many are dead. Many are involved in sex operations. Many are working as slaves in different parts of probably this country and probably many others. But she was the border czar. Now she says, I wasn't the border czar. But she was. It was headlines, border czar, border czar. But now she doesn't want that term. But whether she was a border czar or not, she was in charge of the border. 325,000 children are missing. She created a fast pass entry program to speed the admission of illegals into all of our ports of entry. And remember when they said, no, we're going to, oh, now they have a new line. We created a strong border. No. They keep saying it over and over. The worst border in history. But they think if they keep saying it over and over, most people aren't like us. They're not that, they drive a cab. They're carpenters, they're electricians, they're accountants, they're lawyers. They're not like into it other than they like Trump. They like our policies, because it's not about me. This is not about me. I had a nice life. You can ask my friend. I had the greatest life. I could go to the most beautiful places, look at the most beautiful oceans in the world. Instead, here we are, and I'm happy as hell to be with you because I like it much better. I like this much better. I like it much better. You know why? Because we're doing something. We're saving our country. I wouldn't do it just because I like it. We're saving our country. Our country needs saving. We're a failing nation, in case you have any question. We're a sadly failing nation, and we're going to make America great again. It's very simple. So we're a failing nation. We're going to make America great again. And I think we have a chance to make America greater than ever before. And remember this, if we don't do it this time, you're never going to have another crack at it. November 5th is the single most important day in the history of our country. I believe that with all my heart, because our country's going bad. And Kamala vowed to grant, remember, mass amnesty and citizenship to all of the millions of illegals that she let in, which will obliterate Medicare and obliterate your Social Security for seniors. You will not have any Social Security, and you're not going to have Medicare. The whole country is going bad. And no country, no matter who it was, no matter which country it was, no country could withstand this onslaught. No country could withstand this. And a lot of these people, remember, these are rough people. The only thing good about it is they make our gangs and they make our bad ones look like nice people by comparison. We have bad ones too, but compared to the people that are coming into our country, our criminals are very, very nice. These are really tough ones. They come from prisons. Remember that. Many of them come from prisons, and they let them out of the prisons. Why should they keep them when the stupid United States will take care of their situation? Remember that. And this is what you're voting on, by the way, at the end of September, much before November 5th. I always use the term November 5th, but I'm talking about, because today we vote 2 months early. We vote after, early. Nobody knows what the hell we're doing. The elections are so screwed up. We have to get back in, and we have to change it all. We want to go to paper ballots. We want to go to same-day voting. We want to go to citizenship papers, and we want to go to voter ID. It's very simple. We want to get rid of mail-in voting. Mail-in voting. Jimmy Carter headed up a commission. By the way, the happiest man in the United States today is Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter. My wife went to the funeral of Rosalind, beautiful funeral, like 8 months ago. And I looked at Jimmy. Jimmy's old, but he's happy. You know why? Because his administration is considered brilliant compared to this administration. Brilliant. He's a happy man. But Kamala called for the abolishing of ICE. Great patriots, tough as hell. Some of my friends are sitting right here. They're some of the toughest human beings I've ever met. They're not tough enough to be in ICE. They won't do it. These guys, they see a pack of MS-13 thugs that love knives. They love cutting people up better than guns because it's more painful. They killed 2 young girls in Long Island not so long ago. 16 years old, they were walking to school. They cut them up into pieces. They cut them up into pieces. They will go into a pack of MS-13 killers, our ICE guys, and for 2 minutes you see nothing but fists and legs and fighting. A lot of the people, like these young ladies from North Carolina, they're not into that. I don't know. I think they don't want to hear about that. They don't like to hear about people being cut up. They don't like to hear about MS-13. Have you ever seen MS-13? Typically, when you have tic-tac-toe boards on your forehead, it's not a good thing, right? They would go into these places and they would start fighting. And at the end of 2-3 minutes, it's over. And they would stand up and they'd take these thugs into paddy wagons and they'd bring them the hell out of our country and they'll get them out. And the problem we had, as you probably heard, was that the countries wouldn't take them back. Honduras, all of these, El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico. But they wouldn't take them back. They wouldn't take them back at all. And when I came into office, I said, we got to get these MS-13 killers. We had thousands of them in our country. They were set out by the countries where they came from, mostly those countries I just named. And a general told me, sir, we can't do that. They won't take them back. I said, why? Because Obama tried very hard to take them back. Barack Hussein Obama. Has anybody ever heard of Barack Hussein Obama? Remember Rush Limbaugh? Barack Hussein Obama. Rush, the great Rush Limbaugh, right? We miss Rush. We miss him. But they wouldn't take him back, and the general said, sir, they won't take him back. They put planes on the runway when we're about to fly in. They'll take their commercial jets, put them on the runway so he couldn't land. They'd stop up all the buses. So they'd bring them there, and they'd have to turn around. Couldn't get them in. This for years. I said, General, how much money do we pay them in aid every year? Sir, I'll find out. So he comes in to find. So we give them $750 million a year. By the way, it sounds like a lot. That's peanuts compared to what we give them. But it's still a lot of money. Sir, we give them $750 million. Okay, you let them know that effective immediately, they're no longer getting any foreign aid. They're no longer getting no help. No more help. So the time went by, and I came into the office the following morning, nice and early, which I do. And what happened was very amazing. All 3 countries, these 3 countries called me, the heads of the countries. Sir, there seems to be a problem. What? Is there anything I can help you with? I heard you're very disturbed about us. Yeah, you're sending over in the caravans your thugs, your killers, and your MS-13 gang members, and you're not letting them come back into your country, and we're bringing them back. If we have to do, I don't give a crap what we have to do, we're bringing them back. Sure, please, sir. We would be delighted to take MS-13 back. They're wonderful individuals. I said, does that mean you're taking it back? Well, sir, I understand you're no longer making payment to us. I said, that's right, and you'll never see that money again. You better open up. Sir, we would be delighted to take them back. All you had to do was ask. 10 minutes later, I get a call from another, the exact same conversation. Could have put it on tape, it would have been identical. Sir, is there a problem? Yeah, you're not taking your criminals back that you sent into our country. We would be delighted to do so. And we took out MS-13 by the thousands and thousands and thousands. And now they're probably all coming back through this weak and pathetic administration that we have. Kamala has provided deportation immunity to the vast majority of criminal aliens. Immunity meaning you can't get them out. Living inside the United States, she's importing MS-13 gang members back into our country. Nothing's going to happen good with MS-13 gang members. And they're going into our high schools, and they're going to class in the high schools, and they're accosting our kids. They're rough kids. These are rough ones. We are being conquered in a certain way from within. If you think about it, like in Colorado today, Aurora, they're taking over the city. They're taking over. They're going in with these massive guns, AK-47s and others, AR-15s. Have you ever heard of that one? But they're going in and they're taking over our cities. You watch what's going to happen. We have hundreds of thousands of these people in certain of our cities. And if you think they're going to behave, they're not going to behave. These are rough people. These people came from rough places. And they're just sort of getting acclimated now, right? They're getting acclimated. And now they're finding out, gee, we're not allowed to, the police aren't allowed to talk rough to you, or the police gets arrested. I mean, if the police people do their job, they end up losing their pension, they end up losing their families, they end up losing their house, their car. And they're learning this, these guys. And wait till you see what's going to happen. But it's already been happening. They've killed many, many people in our country. I was at the border last week, and I was with the parents and other family members of some of the young kids that got killed, viciously, violently killed by illegal immigrants coming into our country. We can't have this. It's just our country. It's not sustainable. Our country's going to fail. These people are stupid people that are running our country. They don't have any common sense. They believe in an ideology. And if you look at Kamala and you look at what she's done to every place she's touched has turned to shit. Every single place she's touched. Have to say it. Every place she's touched. You might have heard this. Franklin Graham is wonderful. And he wrote me a letter and he said, sir, I love your stories and I love listening to your rallies, but could you please don't use foul language? Your speeches would be even better if you didn't use foul language. But there's an example. It's not really that bad a word, but how can you top that word for what I'm talking about, right? What word? Every place she touches wouldn't be nice. That would be a thud. It would land with a thud. No. And Franklin's probably right. I'm not sure I agree with him, but he's a great guy, actually. But he did say that to me. He said, please don't. And so I try and avoid it. My wife also, she says, please don't use foul language. But it's hard. There's some words that can't be duplicated. They can't. I try, but it can't be duplicated. Comrade Kamala launched a radical left war on Pennsylvania energy that will destroy the economy of your state. On Kamala's first day in office, she shut down the Keystone Pipeline, which I approved. She shut down drilling on all federal land. She re-entered the disastrous Paris Climate Accord. Do you know what that was? That was the worst deal, other than it sounds so nice, the Paris Climate. It basically said that this country is screwed. It said this country is going to pay billions and billions of dollars. Other countries are going to pay nothing. China is an example. pays nothing because they consider it a developing nation. We're not. We better start developing fast or we're not going to have a country left. So I terminated it. We pay billions of dollars. Russia pays nothing. China pays nothing. India pays nothing. And they won't pay for years, but we pay because we're a bunch of suckers. And I terminated it. And one of the early things that Harris did, because she's the one that pushed it, is they renewed it for even more money than they were paying before. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. You'd almost think they hate our country. Kamala Harris surrendered our energy independence, spent hundreds of billions of dollars on the Green New Scam. She's trying to take away gas stoves and heaters. She's vowed repeatedly that we will ban fracking. We will always ban fracking. She just said it today. I saw it. They have a clip from like 2 years ago. She said, no, I'm in favor of fracking, like last week. Oh, no, I'm in favor. Then they start playing clips. We will always ban fracking. There will never be fracking. The people of Pennsylvania are smart. They're not going to fall for it. She will destroy. If you don't have fracking, you don't have a commonwealth. She also imposed a crippling natural gas export ban on Pennsylvania oil and gas, another catastrophe for your state. And this is all stuff that she's done. And I want to call up, I'm flying in with some friends on a very nice plane. It has a very nice television. And I'm watching RSBN, and I'm watching Fox, and I'm watching a lot of them. RSBN, by the way, how good is RSBN? They do a good job. So beautiful. It's like it's the Super Bowl every time we do a rally, right? They do a great job. Thank you, RSBN. Where are you back there, RSBN? Thank you. Wow, what a job. What a job you do. But we were watching, actually, RSBN, and there was a man there named Mark Caskey, the founder of Steel Nation, and he made the greatest speech. And it wasn't necessarily a Winston Churchill type speech, because Winston didn't wear a pith helmet, and Winston's hair wasn't quite as long as Mark's hair. And Winston was brought up in the Oxford tradition, but it was actually just as good. He actually gave me ideas. I thought I was the one that was exposing how bad it's going to be in Pennsylvania and our country if we stop doing the fossil fuel thing. Because, in Germany they stopped and the country was ready to go down the tubes. Now they're building a coal plant a week. A coal plant a week. And Angela is no longer with us. She's no longer with us. But where is Mark Caskey? Is he still around? Oh, look at him right here. Oh, he's probably shocked. I don't know who the hell he is, but you gave the greatest speech. Would you come up? Can I shake your hand? Man, you are something, Mark. Hey, Mark. You want to say something? Come on, say something. Come here. He can say a little bit more, right?
Winston Churchill, I'm not. I was born and raised in Carolina and Pittsburgh as an adult, and I've been a Yinzer for a long time, President. The war on energy and by the left, it's not just here, it's worldwide. What's happening in Europe right now is a shame. To even think about EVs here in America when the technology's not there. We would have to cover 2/3 of America with solar panels to power this great country of ours. We have the Marcellus Shale right below our feet in West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, but New York's not bright enough to take advantage of it. That Cuomo family kind of shut that down a while ago, President. We were on stage with President Trump in 2019 at the convention center in Pittsburgh. We're going to have better results this year, but the people behind me, let's stick together, all the oil and gas and coal workers, nuclear workers, power plant workers. Let's put Mr. Trump, President Trump, over the line.
Now, I'm watching Mark, and, you know, he's talking about all the things that happened when they shut down everything. They then closed up Keystone XL. People forget. I had it approved. I approved it. It wasn't going to happen. Billions of dollars had been spent. I approved it. They came in. They shut it down. The only one they didn't shut down was the Russian pipeline going through Europe, right? Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2, Mark, until I came along, right? Russia was building the biggest pipeline in the world, going to Germany and various other countries in Europe. Countries that we defend against Russia. Think of this. So we defend them against Russia with NATO. We pay billions and billions, far more than we're supposed to be paying, because they had a lot of people that were delinquent. But after I got finished, they paid, you know? They all paid. They said, would you defend us if we don't pay? I said, no. They all paid. Took about, Obama used to come in, make a speech and leave. Bush came in, made a speech and leave. And you know, remember this. Under Bush, Putin took a lot of land. Under Obama, Putin took a lot of land. Under Biden, he's trying to take all of the land, all of the land. Under Trump, he took nothing. Right, Mark? He took nothing. But Mark said, and I said, write this down. Mark, do you have a copy of that speech, please? It's much easier. Just give me a copy. But no, he named like 6 things that happened immediately. But one of them was so big because the Keystone XL pipeline was a big deal, and that was going to bring a lot of oil in, and it was going to go in. You know, this pipeline's underground. It's safer than trucks, I guess, right? And a lot more efficient. It was a big deal, and I approved it. And this guy came in, and he immediately dropped it. But you know what? He did approve Nord Stream. Now, I shut down Nord Stream. Russia was upset with me. Putin said, you know, if you're supposed to be my friend, I'd hate like hell to see you as my enemy. I closed the biggest deal they've ever done. It was shut. And then this guy came in who's got a low IQ. Very, very low. Now he's got maybe no IQ. You have to check it out. And he immediately, the first thing he did was approve the Nord Stream pipeline. And then they'd say, Mr. Congress, oh, look who we have. Byron, stand up, please. Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite so good. But we have a group of people that are really great. But so I stopped Nord Stream 2, stopped it cold, wasn't going to happen. This guy comes in, he approves it. Then they say, oh, Trump was nice to Russia. I wasn't nice to Russia.